So friends, good morning to all of you. Uh, this session is about measuring the performance of the students, both in theory subjects and in practical subjects. So for measuring student performance, we need a test, and the test answer a typical question, and the question is, to what extent does an individual perform either in comparison with others or in comparison with the domain of specified performance tasks. That is, our purpose is to compare the performance of one student against the performance of another student, maybe in the same class or in the same institute or in other institute under the same umbrella of a particular technical university. Or we want to compare the performance of one student against the stated learning outcomes. That is, we are not interested in comparing one with another individual, but against the stated learning outcome. For example, the learning outcome is that after the topic is over, he will be able to define force. So we are comparing the performance of that individual against the learning outcome, and this is called as criterion reference testing, and the earlier was called as the norm reference testing. So for whether it is for norm reference testing or whether it is for criterion reference testing, as a teacher, we need to use variety of test item, because it will be incorrect to choose a single type of test item for measuring students varied learning abilities, because each type of test item has its own strengths and weaknesses. So it will be better that if we employ a variety of test item to measure students varied learning abilities. Okay, so test items can be classified on the basis of how you expect your students to respond to those questions, isn't it? Your students could either supply an answer to a question by a word, by a number, few sentences, more sentences. When I say by a word, I ask, name one sulfide ore of copper. One word answer. Okay. Or when I say 8 is what percentage of 64 number. Okay. Define force. One sentence or two sentences. Explain the properties of something. So more, it means students are supplying the answer. Or your students could either select an appropriate answer out of the different options given along with the question. So multiple choice question, alternate response type questions, or matching type questions. So basically, test items are of two categories. One is uh, selection type item, where student is required to select an appropriate response out of various responses given along with the question. So alternate response, जिसको true false बोल सकते हैं. Multiple choice, which contains variety of multiple choice like analogy, reasoning, and so on. Matching type item. And the second one is the supply type item, where students are required to supply an answer. That is, he is not selecting, he is creating the answer, he is evolving, he is computing. So he is supplying the answer. So short answer question we can include under this. Even completion type item, that is a fill in the blanks item, where the student is supplying the answer. And essay type question. And essay type questions can be further divided into two types, depending upon how much freedom you provide to the students to respond. When I say explain the working principle of carburetor of an IC engine, so here the scope of the answer and the nature of response is clearly indicated in the statement of the question. Describe each of three Newton's laws of motion with two examples. So this is called as restricted response essay question. And when we give enough freedom to the student to respond, he is free to select the response, he is free to organize, okay, integrate. So when we give enough freedom, that is called as extended response essay question. When I say you see, when I ask, discuss the organizations that contribute to the health of the organization, compare Democratic and Republican parties, Atha Sagar. There are so many, parameters. So when we give enough freedom, that introduces scoring difficulties. Okay? Because in extended response question, the student doesn't know where to begin, what to put, and where to end. Lot of freedom. So if one answer sheet is marked by two or more than two teachers, definitely that answer sheet will carry different scores. Okay. So as far as external evaluation or internal evaluation is concerned, we need to go up to restricted response question, and extended response question can be given in the form of assignment to the student. Okay. Now, uh, you see, I'll show you certain poor items and good items. So basically, our focus in this session will be on guidelines of writing good quality test items. So firstly, short answer item. So let me give you certain examples. In what year did man first land on the moon? State the relationship between molecular weight and vapor density. Name one sulfide ore of copper. 8 is what percentage of 64? State Newton's first law. Name the device used in a vacuum cleaner to pump air into the dust bag. And the atomic weight of potassium is 39, of chlorine is 35.5, and of oxygen 16. Find the molecular weight of KClO3. Now let us have a look at the guidelines. Firstly, clearly specify the nature of the response to be made by the student in the statement of the question itself. Be sure that the problem presented to the student is made explicit in the statement of the question. When I ask, who was George Washington? Now this question can invite number of responses. What was the name of the first president of US? This is now better item. When I ask you, what is coal? What is coal? You see, the student could say coal is impure carbon, it is a petrified vegetable matter, or somebody would like to give the composition of coal because I asked, what is coal? But when I thought of this question, I thought that student would answer fuel. But there is nothing in the statement of the question to imply that the word fuel is wanted. Hai. So golden rule is, think of the intended answer first and then write the statement of the question to which that answer is the only appropriate response. So this will avoid indefiniteness. This will avoid multiple correct answers. Better items. Okay. Likewise, I say, what is chlorine? कोई कुछ बोलेगा, कोई कुछ बोलेगा, लेकिन मैंने सोचा कि भी वो बोलेंगे क्लोरीन इज हैलोजन. सो मेरा क्वेश्चन कैसा होना चाहिए? क्लोरीन बिलोंग्स टू ग्रुप ऑफ एलिमेंट्स which combine with hydrogen form acid. Therefore, it is called as a dash. So, halogen. You have to be very specific. Otherwise, you will get multiple answers. Questions with brief answers only, because this is a short answer question. You will not, ask him to write uh, 4 और 5 सेंटेंसेस. अगर आपके सारे क्वेश्चन 4 और 5 सेंटेंसेस के, इट्स ओके. ये नहीं होगी कोई क्वेश्चन तो सिर्फ नेमिंग दे दिया, किसी में आपने सिर्फ सीक्वेंस पर पूछ लिया, एंड अनदर क्वेश्चन यू आर आस्किंग हिम टू एक्सप्लेन. तो ये जो ब्लूम की टेक्सोनॉमी है, डॉक्टर पीके तुलसी हैज ऑलरेडी illustrated. Lower level of knowledge, that is remembering, can be most conveniently measured by using short answer question, है ना. Measure only one concept at a time. When I say define force and state its SI unit, two things. So better is you can give in bracket the distribution of marks 2, 1, or you say A part is define force, B part is state its SI unit. Avoid using textbook wording in phrasing item. When I say name the law which states to every action there is equal and opposite reaction, this is textbook wording. तो आपने इसको एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म में पूछे कि इफ आई अप्लाई ए वेट ऑफ 10 kg ऑन दिस टेबल, हाउ मच टेबल वुड एक्सर्ट. ओके, so application part, not the textbook wording, or please do not lift questions from the previous question paper. Be brief and direct. Our purpose is not to confuse the learner. Our purpose is to enable him elicit some response. Use direct question form rather than incomplete form. This says that direct questioning has got more advantages as compared to completion type item. Why? Because direct questioning is very natural to the student. Why? It is the usual method of asking question in the classroom. Classroom में हम क्या पूछते हैं? What is the normal temperature of human body? We never ask normal temperature of human body is dash. Okay? क्लास में तो ऐसे ही पूछे, what is normal temperature of human body? Let me give you illustration. Ramesh made his first orbital flight around Earth in dash. Now इसमें भी आप देखेंगे you will get multiple correct answers. आ सकते हैं. When did Ramesh make his first orbital flight around the Earth? लेकिन ये this is much better. In what year did Ramesh make his first orbital flight around the Earth? This is more specific. Specify the degree of precision and the units desired. What is the normal temperature of human body? Within bracket in degree Fahrenheit. या किस डेसिमल तक आपको आंसर चाहिए. And make each problem independent of the solution to any other problem. कई बार you see there are 30 questions. Some thing is asked in short answer question, उसके बाद थोड़े से descriptive question है, then long answer questions हैं. तो हमने पुराने पेपर उठा के देखे हैं तो कुछ overlapping भी है. And try to avoid grammatical you see clues. For example, name the authors who prepared the first IQ test. Authors. So you have to you see एक से ज़्यादा हैं, ये hint मिल रहा है उसको. Now the advantages are that useful for measuring only the lower level of knowledge, that is knowledge about specifics. Guessing is eliminated completely because the student is constructing the answer, he is creating, he is evolving, he is computing. So easily constructed as compared to multiple choice question. बहुत आसान है बनाना. And you can also use it for you see for labeling some diagram, or give asking him to give a sequence of something. Limitations हैं that suitable only for lower level of knowledge. And अब मैंने शुरू में बोला था that objective type items are more or less objective item. वो तब होंगे जब डिफाइन फोर्स होगा एंड नॉट व्हाट इज फोर्स. व्हाट इज फोर्स में कुछ भी आएगा, राइट? तो यू विल नेवर बिगिन योर क्वेश्चन विद व्हाट, व्हाई. आपको जो लर्निंग बिहेवियर डॉक्टर तुलसी ने आपके साथ शेयर किए थे लर्निंग आउटकम के, वो वर्ब यूज करेंगे. नेम, डिफाइन, एक्सप्लेन, डिस्क्राइब. ऑफ कोर्स डिस्क्राइब, एक्सप्लेन कैन नॉट कम अंडर शॉर्ट आंसर क्वेश्चन. सो नेम, कंप्यूट, ओके, स्टेट, give 4 examples or give 1 example and so on. Now coming to completion type item. Completion type item is a sentence or statement which has one and at the most 2 blanks for the student to fill in. That is to complete the incomplete sentence. So guidelines are: word the item so that the required answer is both brief and specific. An animal that eats the flesh of other animals is. कुछ भी हो सकता है. हाँ जी, मैंने तो पूछा नहीं, इसमें कुछ लिखा हुआ है. An animal that eats the flesh of other animals. Lion, tiger. This is now specific. An animal that eats the flesh of other animals is classified as, जो आपने बोला, carnivores. You have to be very specific. Use this kind of question only when a direct question is not appropriate. जैसे मैंने बोला, is copper a good conductor of heat and electricity? आंसर yes और no में आएगा, guess आंसर्स हैं. इसको आप कन्वर्ट कर सकते हो fill in the blanks में. Copper is a good conductor of dash and electricity. Omit keywords and phrases rather than trivial detail. Identify the key word from the sentence. That is our purpose is not to judge his language ability. Is, am, on, ये हमने measure करने हैं. हमारा purpose है कि keyword. For example, just see, the law of dash states that a body at rest tends to remain at rest and a body in motion tends to remain in motion. So दूसरे words जो हैं वो आप नहीं omit करेंगे. Only the key word will be omitted. Do not omit too many keywords. कि आपने 3-4 blank रख दिए and the student is not able to, you see, identify. आप में से कोई इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज का बच्चा इसको कंप्लीट तो कर देगा, बट इट मे और मे नॉट, यू सी, meet my, you see, answers. Warm blooded animals that are born alive and suckle their young ones are called mammals. तो mammals को आप जो है एंड में रख सकते हो. The dash is obtained by dash the scores in a distribution and divided by dash. ये मैंने पुराने क्वेश्चन पेपर में से उठाए हुए हैं. The mean is obtained by adding the scores in a distribution and divided by number of scores. तो हालांकि वर्ड्स कितने सारे आ रहे हैं आंसर में और ब्लैंक एक ही है. A dash is used to make dash measurements very. Theodolite is used to make angular measurements very correctly. So again, specify the degree of precision and the units desired. Leave enough space for the student to write the answer. Suppose you are supplying the question paper and you are asking him to write the answer on the question paper itself. So the length of the blank should be such that student can write the answer conveniently. Make the blanks of uniform length. Why? If yes, you are very right. So for example, name of the part of speech that connects words, clauses and sentences is dash. So answer is big, so मैंने space ज़्यादा छोड़ दिया. Name of the part of speech that declares asserts or predicts something is verb. So please, if you have included 4 or 5 fill in the blanks question, so all the blanks should be of same size. चाहे आंसर 1 नंबर है. Use statement for which there is only one correct answer. Avoid grammatical or unintended clues to the correct answer, like an elementary particle carrying a charge of negative electricity is called an. तो an word जो है वो आपको हिंट दे रहा है. तो इसका तरीका क्या है? n को आप ब्रैकेट में डाल दीजिए और विद इन ब्रैकेट n. Steamboats are moved by engines that run on the pressure of. So steamboat is giving clue. So answer is steam. Thunderstorms form when columns of dash air rise to cooler altitudes. The cooler word is giving hint. Right? Blanks should be placed at the end of a statement rather than at the beginning. Because if blank is put at the in the beginning, then the student will need to spend more time in understanding the statement. So better is to give at the end. जैसे मैंने बोला dash, dash and dash are the 3 gases which constitute the Earth's atmosphere. आप लिखो the 3 gases which constitute the Earth's atmosphere are dash, dash and dash. In between आ सकता है, end में आ सकता है, but it should not begin with a blank. ये rule है, golden rule. Then avoid lifting items directly from textbooks and prepare a scoring key that contains all anticipated acceptable answers. Now moving to essay type items. Essay type items are used to measure 2 kinds of students' abilities. One is students' ability to supply rather than merely identify interpretation and application of data. And second is ability to select, organize, and integrate ideas in a general attack on a problem. So outcomes of the first type are measured by restricted response essay question, restricted response. And outcomes of the second type are measured by extended response essay question. Because in the second type, the student is free to select, he is free to organize and integrate. Whereas in case of, first type, the student is given the limited scope. मैंने बोला describe each of 3 Newton's laws of motion with one example. So nature of response and the form of the scope of the response is clearly indicated. मैंने बोला explain with a neat sketch the working principle of carburetor of a 2-stroke IC engine. तो clearly indicated कि इतना ही देना आंसर. कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स मैं दे रहा हूं रिस्ट्रिक्टेड रिस्पॉन्स ऐसे क्वेश्चन के. डिस्क्राइब 2 सिचुएशंस, नॉट डिस्क्राइब सिचुएशंस. उसमें फिर कोई 2 लिखेगा, कोई 4 लिखेगा, कोई 6 लिखेगा. Describe 2 situations that demonstrate the application of the law of conservation of energy. Because this question was given to student in the internal sessional, so मैंने इसमें ऐड कर दिया do not use those example discussed in the class. ठीक है. Describe the working of the carburetor. Why is barometer one of the most useful instruments for forecasting weather? State 3 main differences between covalent and electrovalent compounds. A stone loses its weight when it is immersed in water. Explain the reasons for its apparent weight loss. तो यहाँ लिखेंगे explain 2 reasons. Okay? Not reasons. तो इसमें भी 2 लिखेगा, 3 लिखेगा. Extended response essay question. Write a scientific evaluation of the Copernican theory of the solar system. Now this is quite lengthy. Include scientific observations that support your statements. तो इसमें स्टूडेंट जो है वो सभी के रिस्पॉन्सेज डिफरेंटली स्टार्ट होंगे, राइट? तो ये एक्सप्रेशन जांच करने के लिए आप इनको असाइनमेंट के फॉर्म में दें, क्योंकि ऐसे क्वेश्चंस को एवेल्युएट करना ऑब्जेक्टिवली इट्स वेरी टफ. तो टीचर से टीचर जो इंटर स्कोरेबिलिटी है वो भी जो डिफरेंट होगी. एक्सप्लेन हाउ पॉवर्टी कैन बी रिमूव्ड इन इंडिया. अथा सागर. Critically evaluate the admission criteria in the polytechnics or engineering colleges of your state. Now coming to the guidelines for constructing essay type items. Firstly, restrict the use of questions to those learning outcomes that cannot be measured by objective items. ये गाइडलाइन कहती है कि बेटर है you give the most objective type item, like short answer question है, या restricted response ऐसे question है, या multiple choice question है. Restrict the use of essay question to those learning outcomes that cannot be measured by objective item, means higher mental ability question, like you see higher mental ability कौन सी है? Applying, analyzing, evaluating and creating. For those learning outcome, these are the most suitable items, क्योंकि इसमें analyzing, evaluating and creating में student require more freedom. Design relatively large number of items requiring short answer than few items requiring long answers. जैसे हमने बोला attempt any 5 out of 8 questions. तो इसका मतलब all questions are long answer questions, isn't it? So अब इसमें क्या होगा? चांस फैक्टर विल प्ले इट्स रोल. कुछ ने 5 ये चैप्टर तैयार कर दिए, कुछ ने किसी ने दूसरे कर लिए. गेस वर्क इन्वॉल्व होगा. तो जिसका गेस ठीक हुआ उसको तो सारे क्वेश्चन मिल गए, और जिसका गेस नहीं ठीक रहा उस वो जो है ही कैन नॉट अटेम्प्ट. तो इसका मतलब कि एक स्टूडेंट जो है उसने अगर 60% सिलेबस तैयार किया है, ही कुड गेट एज मोर एज 90 मार्क्स, और जिसने 100% क्वेश्चन भी तैयार किया है, ही मे नॉट गेट मोर मार्क्स, राइट? क्योंकि उसने अच्छे से तैयारी नहीं की. तो गेस वर्क है. एंड यू सी लॉन्ग आंसर क्वेश्चन, if the answer you see in a long answer question, student doesn't know what to put, how to begin, where to end. तो वो पेज बाय पेज लिखता जा रहा है. Likewise, teacher जो है page after page he is reading the answer of the response, and even teacher forgets what the student said in the previous page. ऐसा बहुत बार होता है. So if you want to enhance the objectivity, then you need to give more questions. ठीक है, attempt any 5 out of 8 है, but for every question you can go for 2-3 parts. क्या अगर मान लीजिए 20 नंबर का क्वेश्चन है, तो you can go 1A, 1B, 1C, so that more coverage can be given to the syllabi. So scores based upon a large question paper are apt to reflect real differences as compared to the scores based upon only few items. So you can enhance the reliability. Reliability क्या होती है? Consistency of results from one measurement to another measurement. तो reliability enhance कैसी होगी? जब there are more questions. Okay, question paper में जो length of question paper है वो ज़्यादा है, यानी more number of questions are asked. उसमें specified है, ना कि write a short note on, write an essay on, उसमें जो है वो ambiguity आती है. So, and secondly, if your question paper is long doesn't mean that long answer question. Long means more questions. Then more coverage can be given to the syllabi. Adequate sample of behavior can be measured. Formulate questions that will call for the behavior specified in the learning outcome. This guideline says that first of all, you formulate the learning outcome. Learning outcome क्या होता है? Sentence or statement which describes what the student will be able to do at the end of a unit of instruction. वो माइंड में रख के क्वेश्चन की स्टेटमेंट उसी तरह से बनाई जाएगी. And if there is a one-to-one correspondence between the statement of the question and the statement of the learning outcome, then it will provide you valid results. Validity क्या होती है? We say a test is valid if it measures what it is supposed to measure. मीन्स मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या है और मेरा जो स्टेटमेंट है क्वेश्चन की वो क्या मेजर कर रहा है. इफ देयर इज वन टू वन कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस देन इट विल प्रोवाइड वैलिड रिजल्ट्स. क्लियरली इंडिकेट स्टूडेंट टास्क as completely and specifically as possible. Delimit the area of scope to be covered by the student in the statement of the question. जैसे मैंने बोला describe two situations. आपने बोला describe the advantages of lubricants, and there are various types of lubricants and there are a large number of advantages. You have to specify which type of lubricant and how many advantages. नंबर भी आप निश्चित करें, उससे क्या होगा, ऑब्जेक्टिविटी बढ़ेगी. So use words that themselves give direction, give specific direction. If you want him to write a sketch, क्वेश्चन की स्टेटमेंट में होना चाहिए. Explain with a neat sketch the working principle of carburetor of an IC engine. These are the poor items. Don't begin your question with discuss. Discuss with whom? Discussion तो आमने सामने होती, not on papers. So discuss organizations that contribute to the health of the community. Firstly, what is meant by the word discuss? Does it imply listing organizations and their activities? This question was discussed with the, you see, with the few teachers of social sciences. तो उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि भी ये इसमें ये ambiguity है. That is why I am reproducing here. Does it imply listing organizations and their activities? Does it imply criticism and evaluation of what they do? Does it imply identification of gaps in organization structure? Secondly, does the teacher expect student to consider only government organization or both government and private organizations that contribute? Not clear. क्योंकि ऊपर है discuss organizations. Thirdly, what does the teacher mean by contribute to? Does the teacher want the students to confine the answer to the kind of contribution that involve enforcement of health regulations, direct treatment of illness, preventive medicine, or does the teacher expect the student to include contributions to education and research? So it is not clear. So this is highly global question, highly vague question. Compare the Democratic and Republican parties. We can ask, compare the current policies of Democratic and Republican parties with regard to government's role in private business. You have to be very specific. Write a short note on semiconductor. Semiconductor के ऊपर पूरा चैप्टर है, पूरी बुक है. It means you are asking him to write the whole chapter. तो जिसकी स्पीड तेज है वो तो बहुत कुछ लिख लेगा, right? So you have to be very specific. These are also poor items. Discuss advantages of lubricants. What are Newton's laws of motion? What are से तो clear होता है कि सिर्फ नेमिंग करनी है, एक्सप्लेन नहीं करना, एग्जाम्पल नहीं देनी, लेकिन आप एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो. What do you understand by Ohm's law? क्या आपको जो है वो डेरिवेशन देनी है, क्या आपको सर्किट डायग्राम भी बनानी है? नॉट क्लियर. व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? ये जो अंडरस्टैंड वाले ऐसे क्वेश्चंस है ना, इसमें क्लैरिटी नहीं है. By a strain gauge. What are the principles of quality leadership in an organization? मैं तो सिर्फ नेमिंग कर दूंगा, 10 प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, नहीं स्टेट दे दूंगा, मैं एग्जाम एक्सप्लेन नहीं करूंगा. What are various methods of inspection of casting for internal and external? Do you want him to explain also? Do you want him to give the advantages and disadvantages of various methods also? Not clear. Discuss Herzberg's motivation hygiene theory. Describe the Hawthorne experiments. बहुत सारे हैं. What do you mean by the maintenance of an electronic equipment? Discuss features and block diagram of 80486. Write a note on types and purification of water. Types and there are so many methods of purification of water. तो कितना लिखना है? So do not use phrases like what do you think? Discuss. Tell what you know about. Give your best definition of say motivation. एक कहेगा मेरी ये बेस्ट डेफिनेशन है, दूसरा कहेगा मेरी ये बेस्ट डेफिनेशन है. बिकॉज सोशल साइंसेज में वन कॉन्सेप्ट इज डिफाइंड बाय मैनी पर्सन, लेकिन आपके जो कोर इंजीनियरिंग में वो उसमें डिफरेंट डेफिनेशन नहीं है, राइट. सो इन योर ओपिनियन व्हाट फैक्टर्स हैव कंट्रीब्यूटेड. डोंट आस्क फॉर ओपिनियंस. ओपिनियंस जो हैं दीज कैन बी आस्क्ड इन ए असाइनमेंट. Examination में you need to ask standard procedures. Indicate an approximate time limit for each question. You can indicate, or while preparing a question paper, you can also write an ideal answer as a paper setter. जब आप ideal answer लिखेंगे, you can check its quality yourself. कि मैं ये आंसर एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा हूँ, मेरी क्वेश्चन की स्टेटमेंट से ये आंसर मिल रहा है. और यू कैन आस्क योरसेल्फ आल्सो. आप अपने कुलीग से भी डिस्कस कर सकते हो कि भाई मैं ये चाहता हूँ, तो क्वेश्चन की स्टेटमेंट देखिए क्या है. क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है, मैं क्वेश्चन तो बना देता हूँ, मुझे लगता है कि मैंने तो अच्छा बनाया है, बट व्हेन इट गोज टू द स्टूडेंट, स्टूडेंट्स इंटरप्रेट द सेम क्वेश्चन डिफरेंटली. तो इंटरप्रिटेशन सेम होना चाहिए. Indicate distribution of marks against each part of question. Essay questions should be written in the language of students, precise in meaning, unambiguous, and give enough detail. कितने एडवांटेजेस हैं, एग्जाम्पल कितने देने हैं, या डायग्राम बनानी है, वगैरह वगैरह. मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछा एलुसिडेट द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ समथिंग. स्टूडेंट कंफ्यूज है. एलुसिडेट या एनामोरेट, वर्ड्स आर देयर. तो पुराने क्वेश्चन पेपर प्लीज सेमेस्टर से पहले डिस्कस कीजिए कि अगर ये वर्ड यूज हुआ है तो इसका मतलब ये होता है. तो कई बार बच्चा बाहर आके कहता है कि सर ये तो मुझे पता था लेकिन मैं इस वर्ड से कंफ्यूज हो गया. सो यूज सिंपल लैंग्वेज. Do not require too much writing for the time available. स्पीड कंटेस्ट नहीं है. Avoid optional questions. बहुत सारी good institutions they are not giving any external choice to the students. Only 5 questions are given. लेकिन किसी के A पार्ट में ऑप्शन दे दिया, किसी के C में दे दिया. Only internal choice that is up to only 20%. There is no external choice. अब देखिए, say there are 8 questions. One student has answered question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Second student has answered question like say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another student has opted for different combination. Now can you compare the learning abilities in this case? No. Learning abilities can be compared only when all the students are required to answer all the questions. ठीक है. तो इसका मतलब डोंट आस्क फॉर ऑप्शनल क्वेश्चंस एंड डू कंस्ट्रक्ट आइटम्स बिलोंगिंग टू डिफरेंट मेंटल एबिलिटीज. इफ ऑल द क्वेश्चंस आर डिफिकल्ट, students marks would be like 50, 49, 48, 47, 46. If all the questions are easy, students marks would be like 90, 89, 88, 87. Now what is the reliability? Consistency of results from one measurement to another measurement. जिसके 90 आए हैं, he may or may not get same mark if his answer sheet is valued by another teacher, because in this case spread of score is 0. तो you need to enhance the spread of scores. वो कैसे होगा? अगर आप adequate difficulty level करेंगे. Say 15% of the question should be of very difficult in nature. जिसने सारा सिलेबस किया है वही अटेम्प्ट कर पाए. 15% of the question should be of very simple in nature, and rest 70 or 60% question can pertain to average difficulty level. तो उस केस में आपके क्वेश्चन में जो स्प्रेड ऑफ स्कोर है वो ज्यादा आएगा. से 90 है, 86 आ गया, 82 आ गया, ऊपर स्प्रेड ऑफ स्कोर इज हाई. यूज न्यू एग्जांपल्स एंड illustrations. Do not lift questions directly from the textbook or from the previously asked question papers. Now, measure complex learning outcomes that cannot be measured by other means. So these go beyond mere factual material, and you can easily and quickly construct such type of items. And limitation is that favor the verbally fluent. Marking is subjective. Conscientious scoring is practically impossible. And in limited examination, lack of time may not allow a student to display all his knowledge on a subject. This is the limitation. Now, when to use a restricted response essay question? When you want him to explain cause and effect relationship, describe applications of principles, present relevant arguments, or formulate hypothesis, formulate valid conclusion, state necessary assumptions, describe the limitations of data, or explain methods and procedures. And when to use extended response item? When you want him to produce, organize, and express ideas, or integrate learning, create original form, or evaluate the worth of ideas. Now moving to selection type item. Firstly, the alternate response, then I'll ask for the multiple choice, and finally the matching type items. Alternate choice type item. Definitely it is a two response item, alternate response, in which only one of the preposition is presented and the student judges the truth or falsity of the statement. So true or false, yes or no, agree or disagree, ऐसे जो है. So these are sentences or statement to which the student responds by marking true or false, yes or no, agree or disagree. Example, and circle T if the statement is true, or F if it is false. So these are the examples. Now the guidelines. You need to measure only the important learning outcome. Level of difficulty must be appropriate to the level of students' writing. No overlapping with other items. Give only one central idea in a statement. Avoid multiple ideas in one question. For example, salt can be dissolved in water and can be recovered by evaporation of the solvent. True or false? So two things are there. Precise statement that it can be judged unequally true or false. यानी कि partly true or partly false हो. It should be either totally true or totally false. Avoid using specific determiners like clue, all, always, never, no, none, nothing, usually, many, some, sometimes, often, frequently, generally. क्योंकि ये जो है clue देते हैं. Objective types are useful in measuring all aspects of educational achievement. True or false? Definitely he'll say false. The market value of good gold always exceeds the market value of silver. It is true. Okay. Road curves are generally provided with super elevation. तो इसको better ऐसे बनाया. Road curves are provided with super elevation to ensure stability to moving vehicle. Try to avoid lifting statement directly from the textbook. Word statement so that sheer memory of word or phrases will not permit a true response. So this is a textbook wording and नीचे वाली जो है वो application है उसका. Avoid the use of negatives whenever possible and double negatives in any case. And if you are using negative, you can bold that letter not और उनको caps में use कीजिए. The quartile deviation is not a measure of central tendency. It is not undesirable to avoid the use of double negatives in these item statements. None of the steps in the experiment was unnecessary. Double negative. Avoid a disproportionate number of either true or false item. Otherwise, student would try to adopt a definite response pattern. और अरेंज भी इस तरह से करें कि डेफिनेट रिस्पॉन्स पैटर्न वो ना फॉलो करें. जैसे आपने कर दिया, एक ट्रू कर दिया, फिर फॉल्स कर दिया, ट्रू कर दिया, फॉल्स कर दिया, तो दे विल स्टार्ट अडॉप्टिंग ए डेफिनेट रिस्पॉन्स पैटर्न. सो अरेंजमेंट जो है वो डिफरेंटली हो. लैंग्वेज एंड वोकैबुलरी मस्ट बी एप्रोप्रिएट. Frictional resistance acting when a body is about to move is limiting friction, which is less than sliding friction. Quite confusing है. इसी को सिंप्लीफाई किया, लिमिटिंग फ्रिक्शन इज लेस देन स्लाइडिंग फ्रिक्शन. Likewise, avoid qualitative language wherever possible. Few, many, large, small, old, young, because these convey vague meaning and they are conveying indefiniteness. Avoid double-barreled statements that are partly true and partly false, and avoid response pattern. So these are the true false questions pertaining to knowledge, comprehension, and application. Alternate choice items are an example of selection type. The quantity 11,800 can also be written as this one. 10 to power 3 है ये. Application, the length of the room will be 45 meter if area of room is this one and breadth is this. So this is application. Now advantages, easy to construct. More subject matter can be covered. Scoring is objective. And in a few minutes you can attempt large number of questions, and efficient and convenient as far as administration and scoring is concerned. Disadvantage is that student may adopt some guessing. Incorrect statements may sometimes have undesirable effect on the minds of the student. You cannot use it for pre-testing, and the student may adopt a particular response pattern and useful only when other tests are not applicable. Now moving to multiple choice item. These are used to test students' ability in regard to terminology, facts, principles, and applications. Terminology भी है, basic facts भी, यानी all learning outcomes can be measured by multiple choice questions. So it has got two parts, a STEM and option. STEM is a statement of a requirement and it is given at the top of the item. It either asks a question or begins a sentence that student must complete by selecting the right word or phrase, that is incomplete statement. तो क्वेश्चन टाइप में हाउ मच फोर्स इज नीडेड टू स्लाइड ए 100 kg बॉक्स along a concrete floor if the coefficient of friction between the box and the floor is 0.4. तो ये क्वेश्चन टाइप है, एंड में क्वेश्चन मार्क है, एंड ऑप्शंस आर 25 न्यूटन, 40 न्यूटन, 60 न्यूटन, 100 न्यूटन. Now there is one guideline in this example also. You can see that all the options are arranged in a chronological order, in increasing order, or you can go for decreasing order. Not कि जैसे आपने पहले 40 दे दिया, फिर 20 दे दिया, फिर 100 दे दिया, फिर 60 दे दिया. So likewise जो alphabetical answers हैं, they need to be right in alphabetical order. Now उसी क्वेश्चन को we have written in the form of a sentence statement. Compute the force needed to slide a 100 kg box along a concrete floor if the coefficient of friction between the box and the floor is 0.4 and में full stop. अब इसी क्वेश्चन को आप completion type में लिखेंगे. The force needed to slide a 100 kg box along a concrete floor if the coefficient of friction between the box and the floor is 0.4, comma is then colon. ठीक है, तो पंक्चुएशन भी समझ आ गई कि अगर क्वेश्चन फॉर्म में है तो क्वेश्चन मार्क एंड में आएगा, अगर सेंटेंस फॉर्म में है तो फुल स्टॉप आएगा, और अगर फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स फॉर्म में है तो आप यहाँ ब्लैंक भी दे सकते हो, इज ब्लैंक देके फिर कॉलन, नहीं तो सीधा ऐसे. ऑप्शंस आर प्लॉजिबल आंसर्स. प्लॉजिबल का मतलब क्या होता है? that every answer has an equal probability of being selected by the student if he or she commits some error. odd man out नहीं है, यानी अगर उसको फॉर्मूला रॉन्ग पता है, अगर उसने सॉल्व किया वो आंसर भी दिख रहा है. What is the essential characteristics of the objective item? This is an example. STEM है, and there are 3 distractor, that is wrong answer, and 1 is the correct answer, that is called as key. Now types of multiple choice question. Firstly, simple multiple choice question means आपने sentence दिया and there are 4 options. Combination with correct option. The self-learning material may be made effective by the use of graphs, line diagram, photographs, text. So choose the correct answer from the options given below. All A, B, C and D, A, B and D only, B, C and D only, A, B and C only. So combination with 1 correct option. Okay. Then matching the following type. Match the phenomena given in column 2 with their corresponding reason given in column 1 due to which it occurs. So column 1 has got the phenomena, reason, and column 2 contains the phenomena. तो आपने column 2 में number of options जो ज़्यादा दे दिए हैं. Now answers are 1A, 2C, 3E, 4F. So ये थोड़ा सा difficult बन जाता है. तो this kind of question you can also give in the form of multiple choice question. Sequencing type. Choose the correct sequence of the phases involved in the development of computer-assisted self-learning material. Development, design, plan. So choose the correct answer from the options given below. पहला ABC, second CAB, then BCA, then CBA. तो ये sequence type questions आ गए. This is not simple MCQ. Then assertion type जो है, a person can face the death if exposed to carbon monoxide for more time. Reason is hemoglobin gets mixed with carbon monoxide. So both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is true, but R is false. A is false, but R is true. ठीक है, तो ये क्वेश्चन भी बनाए जा सकते हैं. Now coming to the difficulty level. So again, few questions should be of very difficult in nature, few questions should be of very simple in nature, and majority of questions should pertain to average difficulty level. And question must belong to all the learning abilities. Firstly, cognitive level, that is remembering and factual knowledge. ये मैं आपको बता चुका हूँ, कई सारे क्वेश्चन थे. Now, understanding or comprehension. When did John B. Watson reject the structuralist study of mental events? So, it is of understanding level. Then comes the application level. A researcher shows erotic films to one group of subjects and violent films to another group of subjects. The researcher then assesses the cooperativeness of each group of subjects. The independent variable in this study is, जिसको रिसर्च प्रोसेस पता है उसमें इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल कौन सा है, डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल कौन सा है. सो दिस इज क्वेश्चन ऑफ एप्लीकेशन एबिलिटी लेवल. Analysis level. A 7-year-old boy is brought to a child guidance clinic by his parents for treatment. The boy is hyperactive, has violent temper tantrums, is difficult to control, and gets along poorly with his peers. He has a history of a difficult, high forceps delivery, projectile vomiting, and was a fussy, irritable boy. The social worker should. It means this belongs to analysis level question. Only then he will guide. Higher order, containing evaluation and creating. Your fitness regimen involves jogging on the school track 2 to 3 miles per day with a friend. On a particular day, about 15 minutes into your jog, your friend suddenly pulls up and falls down, grasping her right calf in pain. What should you do at that moment? पहले एनालाइज करेंगे, देन एवेल्युएट करेंगे, देन अप्लाई करेंगे. Now, multiple choice item consist of, ये मैं already बता दिया. Now moving to the guidelines. The STEM must present a problem. That is, it must be meaningful by itself. Make sure the STEM states a central problem, one that would be meaningful even without reading the options. Now, nothing is clear from this STEM. Question है क्या? South America is a flat, arid country, imports coffee from the US, has a larger population than US, was settled mainly by colonists from Spain. कुछ तो स्टेम में होना चाहिए समझने के लिए कि क्वेश्चन मांगा क्या गया है. Most of South America was settled by colonists from England, France, Holland, Spain. So alphabetically increasing order. आप डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में भी कर सकते हो, क्योंकि कई बार क्या होता है आप इंक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में करते हो तो पहले चारों क्वेश्चन के आंसर बी आ जाते हैं, तो उनको अवॉइड करने के लिए आप डिफरेंट सीक्वेंस दे सकते हो. इंक्लूड मोस्ट ऑफ द वर्ड्स इन द स्टेम एंड कीप ऑप्शंस शॉर्ट. ये देखिए, इन ऑब्जेक्टिव टेस्टिंग द वर्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव refers to the method of identifying, refers to the method of presenting the problem. अब देखिए, refers to the method of, ये चारों ऑप्शन में हैं, इनको आप स्टेम में ले जाइए. इन ऑब्जेक्टिव टेस्टिंग द वर्ड ऑब्जेक्टिव रेफर्स टू द मेथड ऑफ, ऊपर आ गया, नीचे आंसर आ जाएंगे. आइडेंटिफाइंग लर्निंग आउटकम, प्रेजेंटिंग द प्रॉब्लम, स्कोरिंग द आंसर, सेलेक्टिंग द बेस्ट आइटम. तो जो कॉमन वर्ड्स हैं वो ऊपर ले जाए ताकि आपके जो ऑप्शंस हैं वो शॉर्ट हो जाए. यूज सिंपल सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर एंड प्रिसाइज वर्डिंग एंड यूज न्यू मटेरियल इन स्टेम प्रॉब्लम. Key options to be unarguably correct होने चाहिए, clear or concise, free of clues. Ensure that one item in the test doesn't provide a clue to the answer for another item. Avoid a definite response pattern, so you can mix up the order of the correct answers. Wording of the item should not follow some familiar textbook phraseology, language to be appropriate. Avoid grammatical clues to the correct answer. Options to be grammatically consistent with the stem. An example of a citrus fruit is and को ब्रैकेट में, और ग्रामेटिकली करेक्ट भी होनी चाहिए. जैसे ये देखिए, an electrical transformer can be used for storing up electricity, can be used to increase the voltage of AC, can be used, it converts electrical energy into mechanical energy, can be used, AC is changed to DC. तो ग्रामेटिकली कंसिस्टेंट नहीं है, तो हमने अगले एग्जांपल में बेटर बना दिया. एन इलेक्ट्रिकल ट्रांसफार्मर कैन बी यूज्ड टू स्टोर अप इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, टू इंक्रीज द वोल्टेज ऑफ एसी, कन्वर्ट इलेक्ट्रिकल एनर्जी इनटू मैकेनिकल एनर्जी, चेंज एसी टू डीसी. तो ऊपर के जो स्टेम है और जो ऑप्शंस हैं, दे शुड बी ग्रामेटिकली कंसिस्टेंट. Arrange numeric options in ascending or descending order and other options alphabetically. Avoid using specific determinants, all of these, none of these, both A and B, neither A nor B. Avoid the use of responses that overlap, making more than one alternative factually correct. How many presidents of the US have died by assassination? Fewer than 5, fewer than 7. तो B में A इंक्लूड है, more than 7, more than 10. तो C में D इंक्लूडेड है. STEM must be concise, unambiguous, avoiding negative, and emphasize unavoidable negative. Which of the following is not a characteristic of team teaching? ये थोड़ा सा पूरा आइटम. विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट ए सेफ ड्राइविंग प्रैक्टिस ऑन आईसी रोड? आपने अवॉइड करना है. अगर नहीं अवॉइडेबल है तो नॉट को बोल्ड करना है. अब यहां पर आप अवॉइड कर सकते हो. विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज नॉट ए सेफ ड्राइविंग प्रैक्टिस ऑन आईसी रोड? एक्सेलेटिंग स्लोली, होल्डिंग द व्हील फर्मली, जैमिंग ऑन द ब्रेक्स, स्लोइंग डाउन ग्रेजुअली. All the following are safe driving practices on icy roads except, ये better हो गया. Instead of not, you are using except, क्योंकि इनमें भी एक ही आंसर wrong है. ओके, तो उसको आपने except में डाल दिया. STEM must be concise. Italicize or bold words such as best, most, least, not, except, never used in the stem. Avoid repetition of words in the option. Thermionic emission is the process by which the positive plate attracts electrons. A cathode is heated. AC is changed to DC. A material emits electron as a result of being heated. तो इसमें D ऑप्शन जो है करेक्ट है, repetition of words है. तो ये क्लू दे रहा है. Now punctuate the options correctly. If it is of a question type, so punctuate a question with a question mark, and then you have to capitalize the first word of each option. In case of a sentence type multiple choice, use a full stop at the end of the sentence and capitalize the first word of each option. And in case of fill in the blanks type item, omit punctuation at the end of open stem question, that is incomplete statement. Do not capitalize the first word on option unless that word is a proper noun. So when using incomplete statement format, keep options at the end of the statement. Now the advantages: scoring is objective. You can measure varied learning abilities through multiple choice question. Since there are more options, this type of item reduces guessing on the part of student. अगर आप इसमें नेगेटिव मार्किंग इंट्रोड्यूस कर देते हो तो गैसिंग बिल्कुल खत्म हो जाएगी. बट समटाइम डिफिकल्ट टू कंस्ट्रक्ट, डिफिकल्ट टू थिंक ऑफ 4 ऑल्टरनेटिव आंसर्स. जैसे मैंने एक स्टेटमेंट लिखी, फर्स्ट आंसर इज इंक्रीजेस, सेकंड आंसर इज डिक्रीजेस, थर्ड आंसर इज रिमेन्स द सेम. अब फोर्थ ऑप्शन तो बनता नहीं है. I'll say none of these. तो आपको वही बनाने हैं जहां पर 4 ऑप्शंस आपके पास आराम से आती हैं. सो जनरली टीचर जो हैं वो लोअर लेवल ऑफ नॉलेज के ही एमसीक्यू बना पाते हैं, हायर मेंटल एबिलिटी वो नहीं बना पा रहे. एंड रिक्वायर्स मोर टाइम फॉर रिस्पॉन्डिंग, स्पेशली when fine discriminations are to be made between all the options. तो ये एक लिमिटेशन है. Now moving to matching type item. These show comparison, identification or definition of basic facts. So this type of question has got 2 columns or 2 tables. You have to match items from one column that best relates to item listed in another column. बहुत बार क्वेश्चन आप देखेंगे, यू विल सी लिखा होगा मैच आइटम गिवन इन कॉलम 1 विद आइटम्स गिवन इन कॉलम बी. वो बेसिस नहीं दिया हुआ, तो यू हैव टू गिव द बेसिस आल्सो, बेसिस ऑफ मैचिंग. जैसे मैंने ये देखी क्या लिखा है, on the line at the left of each item in column 1 write the number of device in column 2 in which it is used. तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि जो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड में है वो आपके जो है मटेरियल है, और जो दूसरा कॉलम है उसमें डिवाइस है. तो मटेरियल किस डिवाइस में यूज होता है वो आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है. On the line at the left of each item in column 1 write the number of the phenomenon in column 2 due to which it occurs. तो जो सेकंड कॉलम है उसमें ऑप्शंस ज़्यादा रखें, क्योंकि अगर आपने जितने प्रीमाइसेस हैं लेफ्ट साइड में जितने उतने ही रिस्पॉन्सेज हैं, तो अगर बच्चे को 3 आते हैं तो चौथा उसको अपने आप पता चल जाएगा. सो गेस वर्क रिड्यूस करने के लिए यू कैन गो फॉर मोर नंबर ऑफ रिस्पॉन्सेज इन कॉलम 2, ताकि स्टूडेंट के पास जो है वो फिर चॉइस हो. चूज होमोजेनियस आइटम्स ग्रुप्स, group only homogeneous premises and homogeneous responses in a single matching item. Member of NATO, president, prime minister, term of MP, this is different. ठीक है, यहाँ पर definitely वो 5 years के लिए जाएगा. So identify items in the first column by number and the items in the second column by letters, and check for any clue. Arrange the list of premises and responses for maximum clarity in a systematic order. For text only question, put longer items in the left hand column, shorter items on the right. Be sure that entire matching item fits on one page. यानी कि आधा आइटम अगले पेज में आ जाए, तो आपको क्वेश्चन पेपर में उसी तरह से अरेंजमेंट करना है. Avoid using equal number of premises and responses. ये मैं बता चुका हूँ. Give simple and direct instruction. Explain clearly the basis upon which items are to be matched and the procedure to be followed in responding the answers. Use plausible distractors and use parallel syntax. That is, any item in one column should seem to go with any item in the other. These can be used where learning involves association of two things, that is date with the event, cause and effect, principles and application, symbols and meaning. इसी पर्पस के, यानी लोअर एबिलिटी लेवल के लिए ही ये जज होते हैं, या मैक्सिमम अंडरस्टैंडिंग लेवल. बट बियॉन्ड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, मैचिंग टाइप टेस्ट आइटम्स कैन नॉट बी यूज्ड. So guessing is minimum, requires little reading time, and scoring is simple. Limitations are that overemphasis on memorization of facts, restricted to situations in which the material lends itself to the listing of a number of important and related concepts, And while constructing item, it is easy to deviate from the table of specification and usually measure only knowledge level objective and not to the measurement of understanding.